Cynthia Bianchi is the manager for instructional design. With a focus on leadership development, Cynthia and her team create all training content that you and I use. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Cynthia Bianchi.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Bianchi, and I'm the manager of the Instructional Design Department in the Leadership Development Division at Lions Clubs International. Thank you for allowing me to join you today to share some exciting new resources on virtual training. Training has always been an integral part of developing Lion leaders and Leo leaders. Unfortunately, in-person training has been limited over the past year due to COVID-19. However, this has not stopped Lions and Leos around the world from finding new ways to stay connected and to provide training virtually. It is my privilege to share with you today some virtual training resources that are available as you consider your training needs in the coming months. It is important that multiple districts and districts provide opportunities for current and future leaders to develop their leadership skills, to increase their knowledge and their abilities. This may include providing virtual training opportunities if in-person training is not possible. Fortunately, there are a variety of virtual training resources available for both Lions and Leos. For this presentation, the Leadership Development Team has collected our top 5 favorite resources to share with you. An overview of these resources is shown on the screen, and we will look more closely at each one during this presentation. The Global Leadership Team, multiple district and district coordinators receive information via email from LCI about leadership development programs and training resources. If there are any GLT coordinators attending this presentation, please confirm with your club secretary that your primary email address is correct so that you don't miss out on any of the messages throughout the year. First, let's look at changes to the Regional Lions Leadership Institute, also known as RLLI. This institute is an in-person training that is offered throughout the world. It's usually delivered by the district or the multiple district. It is designed for those Lions or Leos who are just starting their leadership journey, or those who are looking to refresh some of their leadership skills. Since conducting this training in person has been challenging in most parts of the world this year, Lions Clubs International has decided to allow this institute to be delivered virtually in order to support local training needs. However, the curriculum cannot be delivered as written within a virtual training environment. You will need to invest ample time to consider how the in-person curriculum can be adapted to be delivered virtually. Please contact us in the Leadership Development Division to get started with this process. A virtual training checklist has been created to help you with the adaptation, preparation, and delivery of the RLLI in a virtual space. Additionally, some best practices in virtual training delivery and a sample of how to convert an in-person session into a virtual session will be provided. The Leadership Development Division will ask that you submit an official request that includes the dates, the names and number of faculty, the estimated number of participants per classroom, and a detailed plan for making each session interactive for virtual delivery. This request should be submitted at least 12 weeks prior to the date of the proposed Virtual Institute and needs to be reviewed and approved before you start planning and promoting the virtual RLLI. COVID-19 is changing the way we live, work, and serve. Lions and Leos around the world are finding new ways to connect with each other and with their communities. Our second favorite resource is the Virtual Events Center, which is found on the lionsclubs.org website. In order to support their efforts to connect with one another and to provide virtual training, this new web page has been created to provide Lions and Leos access to both locally hosted virtual events as well as staff-led virtual events. Are you ready to join? Find topics that matter to you and to your club or suggest a topic that you may be interested in. Click through the web page to browse and register for upcoming events or view recordings of past events in multiple languages. Are you interested in posting your upcoming virtual event? Contact your staff Global Action Team Operations Specialist at LCI or send an email to globalactionteam@lionsclubs.org to see if your event qualifies to be posted. The Learn app, which is accessed through LCI's member portal with your Lion account credentials, provides access to our third favorite virtual training resource, the Lions Learning Center, or LLC. The LLC includes many e-learning courses on a variety of topics that range from leadership skills, such as conflict resolution and delegation, to job-specific training for club officers or council chairpersons. The LLC has seen a significant increase in users over the past many months as Lions use their increased home time for individual leadership development. However, the LLC can also be used in creative ways to engage Lions and Leos virtually in your club, your zone, your district, or your multiple district. One way to increase engagement and add additional leadership training opportunities for members is to offer virtual discussions on leadership topics. For example, let's say that conflict resolution has been identified as a leadership skill that Lions and Leos in your area are interested in developing further. A virtual discussion can be scheduled via platforms such as Zoom or Google Meets to allow members to discuss the topic. Prior to the virtual discussion, participants would complete the conflict resolution e-learning course on the LLC to provide a context for the discussion. Throughout the conflict resolution course, there are prompts called Apply Your Learning. The Apply Your Learning prompts encourage learners to pause, reflect, and make notes on specific questions. In preparation for the virtual discussion, learners should make notes in response to the prompts and be prepared to discuss these answers with others. In addition, the facilitator can provide some key questions for discussion or elicit thoughts on how the content of the e-learning course could be applied to situations in your area. This approach can be used for many of the leadership topics found in the LLC. Our fourth favorite resource are virtual training checklists. Lions and Leos throughout the world have been faced with quickly having to learn how to move from an in-person training world to a virtual training world. This has been a daunting task, but one that many Lions and Leos have taken on with great enthusiasm. Since the need to conduct virtual training came about very quickly, we haven't been able to modify all curriculum for virtual delivery. However, the Leadership Development Division has developed virtual training checklists to aid in converting some in-person training curriculum. For example, the RLLI, which I already mentioned, the Zone Chairperson Workshop, and the first Vice District Governor-elect Multiple District Training. These virtual training checklists are available upon request from the Leadership Development Division and can also be used as a guide to convert other in-person trainings for virtual delivery. A presentation in which a trainer delivers information without allowing participant interaction is an information session, like this one, but it lacks the transformational power of an interactive training. virtual training needs to have as much as, or even more participant interaction than a classroom training. Particularly with training, much of Line's curriculum is designed to be delivered in a classroom. Moving to virtual training presents some challenges, but it's also a unique opportunity for Lion or Leo trainers to learn a new skill they may not have otherwise sought out: virtual training delivery. Live virtual training is very similar to live classroom training, but it does require some adjustment to an in-person curriculum and careful consideration to make the experience engaging and meaningful for participants. Here is an example of the virtual training checklist for the Zone Chairperson Workshop. Now, I apologize for showing a slide with so much text on it. This is really a handout and not a slide. You can access this full resource online, but I'll review a few of the key points from each of the 3 sections shown in this presentation. So please don't worry about reading the entire thing as I'm speaking to you now. Normally, the Zone Chairperson Workshop would be delivered in person. However, due to COVID-19, people need to avoid large gatherings, so an in-person meeting may not be feasible. Planning for a virtual Zone Chairperson Workshop might be necessary. Please take note of the 3 main topics shown: adapt, prepare, and deliver. Like the regional Lions leadership curriculum, existing Zone Chairperson curriculum will have to be adapted to be delivered in a virtual environment. After adapting the curriculum, preparation for both faculty and participants will have to be considered. Finally, those delivering the content will need to follow some recommended steps to ensure the training runs smoothly. Let's take a closer look at some of the top tips in each portion of the checklist to better understand what it takes to convert in-person training for virtual delivery. First, it's important to note that the ideal size for virtual training is between 5 and 20 people, and certainly not more than 30 people in a virtual training. This provides as much interaction as possible for the participants who are there. The larger the class, the harder it becomes to get effective participation. Now let's look at some of those top tips. Consider scheduling shorter sessions over multiple days or even weeks instead of one long day. Let's face it, it can be difficult to sit still for many hours and maintain your attention on a training that lasts a day or more. If your session is longer than 90 minutes, make sure you schedule a break halfway through it and try not to have sessions that are longer than 2 hours. Aim to have one interaction every 3 to 5 minutes with participants. This may seem like a lot of interaction. However, in a virtual environment, there are many more distractions. Email, social media, and the internet are very close at hand, so having an interaction every 3 to 5 minutes makes sure that your learners are engaged. After you decide on the virtual training platform you plan to use, study the features carefully. Then look at the activities in your curriculum and compare the two. Which of the platform features is best suited to convert those classroom activities for virtual delivery? For example, a poll can be used to compare opinions among participants very quickly. A poll can also be used for knowledge checks or quizzes. The chat pane or the whiteboard feature is a way to gather short answers from all participants at once, and the participants can then read through each other's contributions. The breakout room is one of my favorite features. This allows a larger group of 20 participants to be divided into smaller groups of 3 to 5 people. In this way, the smaller groups enable all participants to talk to each other more freely. Those who are shyer might feel more comfortable in a smaller group, and there's less competition for the conversation. The breakout room is an excellent feature to use in a virtual training. Let's look at the top tips for preparation. As with any event, it's very important to communicate with participants well in advance. Let them know not only the date and time and duration of their training, but give them some information about the virtual platform and what to expect in the virtual training. Consider dividing up responsibilities for the training between at least two presenters, a faculty and a moderator. The faculty member could be responsible for the training content and facilitating the discussion among participants. The moderator manages platform features like advancing the slides, launching the polls, or managing the breakout rooms. And that person can also focus on requests for technical support from participants. Before your training session, conduct a full dress rehearsal, a full practice session. If you go through your training one time in its entirety, you can avoid the problems that might crop up during the live session and anticipate any challenges. If possible, if you have time, consider a short practice session for your participants as well. This is especially important if they're new to the platform and have never tried the features before. If they can test the features in a low-stress environment when they're not worried about training, they're more likely to feel comfortable and engaged during your training event. Next, let's look at the top tips for delivering your training. Take a look at your presentation space, at the visuals and the sounds around you. Make sure your background is tidy and make sure your environment is quiet so that we're avoiding interruptions to the sound or to the attention of your participants. 30 minutes before the scheduled start time, make sure that all webinar faculty, moderators, and presenters log in. Check their connection and check all of the technical details for the event. 10 minutes before the start time, open the virtual doors of your training session and allow the learners to enter the classroom. Welcome them by name to make them feel comfortable and to create rapport with them. At the start time, remember a few important steps. If it's not automatic, remember to start the recording of your session. You'll be happy you remembered at the end of the session. Remind participants to stay muted until it's their turn to speak. Again, this avoids any auditory distractions during the training. And take a few minutes at the beginning of the session to remind participants how they can interact, how they can use the features of your virtual training platform. These tips and more are included in the virtual training checklists. You can find the checklist for the Zone Chairperson workshop on our lionsclubs.org website or send an email to the Leadership Development Division. For those of you who find the prospect of delivering live virtual training exciting, but have not yet ventured into the virtual training world, you will be happy to know that a new e-learning course is coming soon to the Lions Learning Center. This is our 5th favorite virtual training resource. It will cover differences between in-person and live virtual training, preparing to train virtually, and facilitating effective virtual instruction and developing a credible digital persona. For those who have already ventured into the world of virtual training, this course will confirm your knowledge and possibly provide you with additional ideas to make your live virtual training even better. Watch for the release of this new course in early March. Before I conclude my presentation, I'd like to review several opportunities for action for you today. Reach out to your Global Action Team, Global Leadership Team, multiple district or district coordinator, and offer your support to help plan a virtual training. Encourage your club members to utilize the Lions Learning Center. Check out the Virtual Events Center at the lionsclubs.org website. And of course, visit our leadership development webpage, Learn, Lead, Grow. Finally, if you'd like more information about organizing a virtual regional Lions Leadership Institute, or if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to contact us via email, leadershipdevelopment@lionsclubs.org. I hope that this overview of virtual training resources has enticed you to consider the virtual training needs of the Lions and Leos in your area. Learning is instrumental to deepening our experience as members and as leaders, and virtual learning is another powerful way to experience learning and leadership development in this ever-changing world. Thank you for your attention today, and most importantly, I wish you success in all your endeavors. May you continue to learn something new each and every day. Thank you.